Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour. And as we get started here, it's always about the sacred time when we meet together.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have here? Well, it's all about, at least in my opinion, it's all about hedge funds and massive shorting. Had a good question from somebody in the den who private messaged me about how did you know? Well, if you pay enough money, you can get the short positions split out. You can actually even go to, I think, FINRA, and they have some level. I haven't done it yet because the files are massively large. It would take a lot of processing power, but you can kind of split them out of the every tick and short sale. And I think that there's a key on there that tells you whether you're a big street name, you're a hedge fund, or a retail trader. And so anyway, massive shorting, the biggest in 10 years, but just in the hedge funds. When we actually look back at some of the other stuff going on, as I've talked about for my newsletter, let me find it here. Okay. The big thing is the dark pool numbers. And, well, I'll just put it up because it was one of the reasons why I said I was looking for a blow-off top. But as we look at the dark pool numbers, let me zoom this up a little bit so you can see and why I've been talking about it in the newsletter. If you take the volumes from the CBOE, you can split them apart and find out how many shares were in dark pool and how many were not. It's been kind of an average of about 35% for the last 2 years. And occasionally you'll see it maybe go up to 38, 39%. That means that the street guys are very active between each other in the dark pools. The dark pools are those places where the high-frequency traders cannot front run them. And, of course, you can't trade into them or out of them. Only the big guys. It's kind of like the room in the back with the $1,000 bottles of champagne that they show on TV. I am too cheap. I would never do anything as ostentatious as pay $1,000 for or $10,000 for a seat in the back of the important club. I guess you have to be a certain kind of person to do that. I've never been that way. Anyway, so the whole point is what's going on. And the percentage, if you want to buy or sell something and you don't want the whole world to know, and you're a big street name and you want to sell, let's say 10 million or 100 million shares or something, you go back into the dark pools and it's not even reported a lot of times within 5 minutes, sometimes as much as 15 minutes. There's supposed to be a fine. I've never seen anybody fined in the dark pools for not reporting on time, just reporting on the day. But I think you can pretty much say that within 15 minutes, you're going to find it in the tape. But you can split these out, come back out, and find out exactly what's going on. So anywhere around 35% tells you that that's pretty standard. We've been getting lower and lower levels, which means that the big guys are not the source of the volume. It is retail traders or hedge funds or other folks that can't actually trade in those dark pools. So we've got a lot of non-believers, and at this point, you need to think, are the big guys of Wall Street that haven't believed it up till now, are they going to sell into this, or are they going to try to chase it? But certainly I have a feeling a great deal of this is not the actual retail trader or the big guy on the street, but just massive amounts of shorting. And we talked about Tesla this week, too. It's one of those things. I do have something I put in the newsletter each day for that, and that is the short sale. But as I say on the show each day, you know, when you are going to be shorted 42% as you were yesterday, almost out of every 2 shares is shorted, or at least started as a short. What point do you think that people aren't just going to keep moving the prices up until you cover? You know, there's a wide discrepancy between a stock and the company and the economics of the United States. But there's one thing, and that is that you get too far off on a limb, and Wall Street's more than willing to come out there and saw it off. So my question may be just, are they just running it up, knowing that these guys are out there? Are people like Tesla just that are shorting Tesla just bound to go broke, going after day after day after day? But, you know, a lot of these things are just perennial shorts every day because everybody just assumes they're going to be worth nothing at some point. But right now, you know, we've got some decent follow-on volume. But more likely the case, as many people say, the stock market likes to take the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. And we've had these huge moves, 2-3%. And guess what? Has anything truly changed? I don't think so. But we shall see. 877-927-6648. And see what else we have here. So we've had a huge pop in the VIX in the last 30 minutes. And the question is, does that set up the big guys coming back in and deciding that it's time to start buying some downside protection? It could be. The downside is until I see the numbers tonight, which is generally around 8:30. I don't have a real good feeling whether everybody gave up on shorting. On individual stocks, it's a little easier to tell. But my guess is that maybe you're close on Tesla. Could flip a coin on that one. The bigger ones I'm looking at are what would tomorrow's price be in the NASDAQ if Apple whiffs tonight. And, of course, the reason I bring that up is just the absolute huge amount of bloodletting that Samsung has had in that space. And they haven't had any of the problems that Apple had with production. So are you really sure that Apple's kind of come back with some fervor, or people just driving the price up because they're short? But anyway, these big hedge funds have been shorting the living daylights out of the market. My guess is they're going to have to give up soon enough. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about the short positions in Apple.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Cakestat's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Cakestat breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month and try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN. Educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And when we get back, as I said, it's nowhere close to the level we have in Tesla. But here are the short positions for the last few days on Apple. And as I said, you know, kind of 10% should be kind of normal levels. The big problem with Apple is that it has kind of gone up already, so a lot of it may be baked in the cake. But you know, when you have 25%, 1 in 4 shares being shorted, other than the day before yesterday, you got down to 19%. But you just got a lot of people going hog crazy. I think, as I said earlier in the week, probably the worst idea is when everybody else has it. And I always love that Mark Twain comment, when everybody has the same idea as you, it is probably time to pause and reflect. And I think that's kind of what we've gotten here. The question is whether or not, with what I believe is fairly good evidence, that the main guys on Wall Street didn't participate a lot in this, that Bloomberg's reporting, which I tried to look for, it's now behind a paywall. But it was up on Monday, coming back, about the hedge positions being the largest since 2010. And we all know what happened for the next about 10 straight years. The question is, were those folks just trying to make up a lot of time and money that they missed earlier in January? But certainly, you know, I actually do publish kind of a most hated list, and that is from the bi-monthly shorting numbers that the exchanges publish. And we had a ton of them. There were, I think I got 100 of them above 8 days to cover, which is fairly high too. So not really beyond the pale that we're seeing a lot of these stocks blow out to the highs. But BBBY. Let's take a quick look at that. So you get some gaps like this in Best Buy, and the companies are bankrupt. It's no different than Sears or Kmart or all the other ones that have come before it. This condition is just probably worse, mostly because of outlets like Robinhood and those that allow retail traders to get and push in these. But certainly a nice pop in Bed Bath & Below for a company that has closed yet another 87 stores, which reminds me of the old tale of the airline passenger who's flying from New York to London on a 747. And they go along a little while, and he looks out the window, and one of the engine falls off. Pilot comes on. He goes, well, 747, we got 4 engines. We can fly on only one if need be. And, of course, he says, but we'll be going a little slower. So just know that we'll be about an hour and a half later than our planned time of arrival. They go a little bit farther along, and then another engine catches fire. And so the pilot shuts it off. And, of course, what do? They say, come on the intercom and go, well, we left a second engine, but, of course, you know what? This plane is designed to fly on only one engine if need be. And he says, but we will be, 4 hours late. We'll be losing a lot of speed on that second engine. And they fly another 30 minutes, and the third engine just explodes, and pieces fly all over the place. But the pilot comes on and goes, you know what? We've got 4 engines. This is why we have 4 engines. This plane's designed for the ability to fly on only one engine if need be. And, of course, the passenger turns to the guy next to him, and he goes, if we lose that last engine, we'll be up here all day. I always like that joke. Anyway, that is the question. At what point do we lose the last engine in the squeeze in this market? And, a huge move in the VIX is telling you somebody's doing something. So we should be looking close. Are there enough people shorting today that they can make this hang out another day? Generally, the big guys on Wall Street are a little early, not massively early, but a little early. So they're starting to sniff, I suspect, a little bit of what I am, and that is a good whiff, kind of like out in the pasture, of maybe a little bit too much too fast. 877-927-6648. Tip your waitresses. I'm here all week. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Okay. So let's go ahead and get to a bunch of questions we have already. We got plenty of time today. Yeah, you never know what's out in the old pasture. Okay. So, Unity Software, you have a nice spike, and this is for Ryan. I just think this is a short squeeze. You're in a big trading range from about $25 up to this $42 range. You got into it and gave up. I just don't think that there's that much there. I know what they do and how they do it, but there's a reason they've come way off. I don't think it's going to get any better. A lot of this has to do with the companies that use their software, just being able to have in-app purchases like you did before with kids running bills up, much tougher than it was before. But I'd say if you were long this thing, I'd ring the register. I don't know if there's a lot of reasons to short it, but I see a fairly good reason to sell it. Okay, let's take a quick look at XLE. Yeah, there were a lot of people long energy. I still find it perplexing that after that OPEC meeting, or after the OPEC meeting, that we continue to lose. A lot of people say it's the supply. And I guess in the short term, we can look at what we talked about maybe a month ago, and that is just how many ships that were at sea, that they found everything that would float that they could put that Russian oil in, and it all hit. So, yeah, in the short term, does this give us kind of a plateau for oil based on Russian oil? But it also means that we're funding both sides of a war in Ukraine. We're funding the Russians by buying their oil, and we're giving our military weapons to the Ukrainians. Yep, kind of a zero-sum game, isn't it? We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And the market is playing the position of a semi-famous comedian at the Oscars and getting slapped by a bigger actor. And that was just about a year ago, wasn't it? The only thing worth watching in the entire Oscars. So the market's getting a little slap up against its face, but certainly we found somebody willing to drop the hammer with the VIX, and that may be the big signal. Volume has been brisk in the last 15 minutes as we break through about 10 billion shares on the CBOE. Let's go to some more questions here. Okay. I wanted this right here. HBI. Pete says, examples of what might happen when the shorting music ends. Certainly, Hanes brands just robbed everybody back to the gap higher on the 4th of January. That's, generally in blow-off tops, it looks kind of the exact same thing as when you went up. It doesn't give it all back. And my theory right now is that we kind of have blow-off tops set up, but no real signal to say that it's all over. But certainly we have that. More important, you do get these, a lot of these companies that have gone up on light volume and haven't done much and give it all back. And man, that's pretty brutal on Goose. GOOS, which is Canadian Goose, they are a jacket maker using down off a goose. But that's it. Let's see what else is out here. I wanted to look at a few other stocks. Of course. Okay. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at the movers here. I don't know if there's a whole lot to be said for Meta. I have a feeling that a lot of people were expecting Meta to go broke. And the problem with Meta wasn't so much that they did that well. It was that the idiot in charge of Metamucil finally decided to quit throwing $10 billion a year at something that may or may not be a big product in another 3 years. I don't think that there's anything. I've gone on ad nauseum about why I don't think that wearing goggles is going to be a big deal, mostly because it gives everybody headaches and makes them throw up, does a lot of other things, not, at least the way that they are now, not usable for probably half the population. And that's, I think the idea is that, everybody would buy these. Well, half the people are probably going to return them if they did get them. So just not throwing money down a rat hole is probably enough to make this stock bounce. And you had everybody that was doubling down short on that. Let me go back and look real quick on Meta. META. Okay. It was about 20%. Could have been worse. I think a lot of people thought a lot of the worst was in. Let's see what we have on the bi-monthly. It wasn't that bad. But again, he said he was going to cut spending, but not that much. He cut it a lot more, and that's what they were looking for. You are blown through the previous highs in Meta from the July 21st to the August 11th high. But you know what? That's the way these things go. Align Technologies. These are the guys that make the invisible, what do they call them? Braces. And really selling them to people that wear them at night and to executives that want to fix their teeth that maybe didn't look as good as they probably could have if they would have spent a lot of money on orthodontia as children. But certainly a nice pop in this one. I'm pretty sure this one actually did have some fairly nice short positions in it. To take a quick look. ALGN. Yeah. It built up over a while. But, about 3 days to cover in it. Okay. Get rid of a few of these. Amazon, of course, we've got earnings out after the bell tonight. Let's go to that. And everybody's front-running Amazon out the wazoo. I'm not exactly sure if anything is dramatically changed. Oh, that's Amgen. That's AMZN, he said. Okay. So you've got a nice pop up here. and this is already in front of the earnings. The down day of October 28th had 223 million shares in it. You're up on about 92. So if you miss, this could be one of the big movers out here tonight. To Google, of course, got its own problems. They continue to do dumb stuff, and a gap up in it. So a lot of front running, everybody thinking that the exact same thing's going to happen with Meta, or that happened to Meta with Google and Amazon. I am not so sure. I think that's a big bet. I would be out of that, take the money and run. We also talked a little earlier about Ford Motor Company, gap higher in that, coming back up. They've been whipping that one since Monday on Bloomberg and CNBC. Inside, that always makes me think of being a little dubious. Qualcomm also, with those numbers that they also sell to Samsung, very interesting to me that Qualcomm's still up there with as bad as those numbers. If anything, even if half the cut that Samsung had on phones is probably going to be a big deal on Qualcomm. If they're okay, I don't think that there's much upside. If they report anything as bad as Samsung, the gap at 125 is wide open. Of course, Bucks making addicts of many. Starbucks and getting off to the beginning. This thing has done nothing. We go straight up. Hit 110.83 today. This one looks like a lot more that just fell to earth after news. Support comes in about 102 on it. Very tough for me to see. There's a lot of upside in Starbucks today. Gilead, we'll take a look at. GLID. And probably the best thing you can say about this is it's already breaking the December 20th low. Had 11 million shares with only 6.6 million shares. But people way out in front of that one, too. United States Steel also. And let's see, most of these, well, Apple almost always comes out at 4:30, so that's problematic for playing the cues after hours. But yeah, take a look at it. Anyway, United States Steel looks like it could come back to $26 pretty quickly. We'll be back in a minute.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
And, well, we're off 45 points off the top today on the S&P cash. That was for a quick blow-off, but that's kind of what you get in that particular blow-off top. It's pretty quick and it sets the hook. You also take the most amount of the money from the most amount of people by washing the shorts out. So, as we continue, what else did I want to look at? Oh, I wanted to go back and look at a few more of the earnings out here if we had a chance. Okay, today's the 2nd, and we're after market close. That's the 2nd. Okay, there we go. Okay, looking forward. See if there's anything else out here. Skechers, SKX. See what the world of kicks is doing. Again, a lot of this stuff just looks very brittle up here at the highs. And, of course, too many people, I suspect, being a little bit too rosy on the Fed's position and also transposing a lot of what happened into Metamucil into the rest of the market. And that's what it took to get the short sellers out. Okay. Also, Deckers, DECK, see if we can match these up. Kind of the same thing. This one just a little less of a brilliant high, and this at $430. Okay, let's go back to the movers and shakers of today. And we'll take a look at that. Siri. Another one that's been circling the drain for forever. Big move down. Let's go back a little bit farther. So you blew through all the lows on Cirrus. I never understood how this company really still existed. You've got the lows going back to 2020. My guess is that's where this thing's headed. You've got support around $4.66 from the September 24th, 2020 low. But there's just, once this thing is now snapped, I don't think that there's a lot of support for it going forward. Okay. PIN. Another loser on the day, down 6%, PIN National Gaming. Just a gap down, but, you know, these have, well, they may not be perfect out here for Fibonacci retracement levels. Let's see if we can get a bit better here. There we go. But we had a lot of stuff hit the 618 and didn't have a lot of staying power. You got 618 in PIN National Gaming, and it's back in and now below that 618 retracement of the way down. Lilly came out. I don't think it was that bad off, first of all. in the morning. So let's take a look here. Get rid of that. Yeah, it sold off worse the longer you went. So they got down to 317, which is probably the good part. That is that there's this big gap going back a little ways to the 28th of September last year. That had 9 million shares. You blew through it already today. You've got 11 million shares. So that's not looking good. A bigger chance, of course, these charts are all messed up from the bad ticks from a week ago, but certainly you have the volume to come back in. Support, you kind of bounced off of it, but 312 would be a much better risk-reward setup if you're looking at these. On the positive side, we looked at Meta and Align and Amazon and Google. Let's take a quick look at the Googler real quick. It does have volume, or more than the previous high of 40 million shares on October 25th. That was 40.6 million shares at 104.82. You got to 107.82, kind of pulling back a little bit. Okay. And let's see here. Okay, let's go back and look at that. Again, I have a feeling that we're looking at a lot of these gaps getting filled on these things, that because I don't see it that much rosier for Google, and it's more like the spending cuts, I suspect, but we'll know tonight. Okay, we look at Google, SWK, up 5% on the day. Stanley Black & Decker, there was this gap that has existed since September 13th. That had 1.8 million shares. You got 3 million today, so this is actually a valid breakout. I guess they're assuming we're all going to go back to work on our houses. I don't see much else out here. How much time we got left? Okay, let's do a tour of the usual suspects and see. Yeah, as we said, a lot of these stocks were going up to previous highs without a lot of energy at the same time, not testing highs on more energy. The December 13th high in Microsoft, 263.92 with 42 million shares. Got into it today with 25 million so far. Let's say you do 30 million by the end of the day, you're still going to be 25% light coming back up. Okay. And FLX. See if we got some bounces off today. Now this one is interesting to me. Let's do the overlay. You get any real click below the 3x3, and I think you could say this is going to race back down to 330. So there's about a 10% move set up in the charts on this one. Maybe more, but I'm going to say that 328, 330 area looks pretty ripe for a pullback now. Let's see. Let's take a look at some others. To get my other list up here. Okay. Question on the TLT from Ronnie. Okay. Well, you're right back up to the previous high. You got more volume. You did pop to 109.35. Right now you're at 108.14. Long term, I think they're going to just slowly keep turning the screws. My guess is that if this is a high and a blow-off top in the markets, which we could confirm by tomorrow. Well, let me update this just to make sure where we're at here. You've got 45 points off the high so far in the S&P. Still up 2.6% though in the Nasdaq. We'll be back in just a minute.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And as Duffy points out, from the Den Fiber, a nice pop here. You got some decent volume. If you're unfamiliar with this company, you can think of a dollar store, except everything's $5. So the crap is just a little bit better in that store. And there's actually a couple of them down here that are literally right next to the dollar store. So which I think is everything's $1.25 now instead of $1. But interesting, you're back up against resistance levels that go back, and you're going to be a little light on volume June 2nd, 2022, almost 4 million shares. You got about half that today, but a little bit better than some, at least better than the last attempt back up to push higher. But probably a big trading range setting up now. Other things going on in the market, volume was fairly light the last 15 minutes, so we shall see. But a quick 40-point haircut off the top on the S&P. Let's see, let me update that just to make sure because it doesn't update quite enough. Oh, now we're down that's another 10. So we're off 50 points on the S&P cash, but that's the way blow-off tops work. They get in there, they don't last very long, and then they give it up almost instantaneously. Well, we have a very special treat for you today, and that is that Larry will be sitting in for Tom O'Brien today. So you get a double shot, kind of like what I like, that double shot of cappuccino to keep you going to wrap up the day. But going to be a very interesting closeout here today. But, just know everything shall pass. So when you can, not when you have to, we shall see you tomorrow.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible.